Hi there. Today I want to show you one more example where we still got it. We as a species, compared to artificial intelligence, we still got it. This is a position where a decent GM, IM or talented, maybe lower rated player can handle this position. It's white to move. Best move for white. If one were to believe Stockfish 9, the newest version at depth 34, what would you do? Evaluation is approximate, it's a transposition according to Stockfish 9. With all due respect, sometimes even the rock Stockfish, the top rated chess program at the moment, like 3500 or something ELO, ridiculous rating, it's minus 5, with best move being, let's see, what is the best move? It's a transposition, so it would go either way. Best move king d1, I take the pawn on b2. What does the Stockfish go? Knight e2, now rook goes to a2, bishop to b1, and now I'm not taking that pawn because then you will trap my rook, right? I would just start moving the king. I'm gonna do the best move for white. No, come on, you can do better than knight g3. No, it can't. Knight g3, and now my rook escapes. And then king is approaching, and with weaknesses like this, white will not handle it. Bishop h7. White rook g7? I don't know, why not? Knight e3 fork is coming, so rook g7, bishop comes back, the king is approaching. It is clear that eventually white is going to lose. The king is just coming. There's no way white can handle this. The evaluation is ridiculously high, and I did all the best moves for white according to Stockfish. Let's take a human look at this position. The problem is pawn is hanging. If black takes the pawn, rook gets out, white would be in deep trouble. But this is a puzzle. This is a study where you have to think outside the box, which engines very often just cannot do. They have their limitations. They have their list of moves that must be considered based on developer's judgment, I'm assuming. Not sure how AlphaZero would handle this one. Maybe it would find a way to hold this position. So one of the things that is not comprehensible, at least so far, by engines is a fortress. I discussed it in my previous videos, and also unexpected moves. But we can calculate unexpected moves, and what is the first move a human being must consider here before rejecting it? It's taking the rook, right? But if you take the rook, pawn takes, the pawn will promote, that's it, resign, right? Right. Unless you give it a second thought. You have to be desperate enough to give it a second thought. -6 is the evaluation of the engine right now. It's amazing. So it's eventually black is winning with -6. So if you see -6 in a, let's say, normal looking position, some end game, some middle game, that's crushing. But if the position looks fortressy, if that's a word, it might be a draw, which is exactly the case here. Human being, after second consideration, being desperate enough that it looks crushing, knight takes a2. On purpose, I'm letting the Stockfish think. Depth 38, you almost never see that depth in any position. So usually people go with engine suggestion at like 20, 25. Oh, that's it. I have a lot of examples where the engine is wrong. You can use, by the way, any engine that you have access to. Probably none of them would find this one. Knight takes a2, pawn takes a2. It seems that that's it. The queen will appear, and you put a That's period. Queen appears. Nope, it's comma. The queen appears. Let me give it a thought. Let me give it a minute. Let me figure it out. Knight takes a2. It's -7, by the way. -6 here, 6.3, and -7 here. So tiny difference. But if you add more lines to it, maybe you will be lucky to see the computer's offer. King c1. a1 queen. You have to promote eventually. I will go bishop b1 now. Bishop b1. Take a closer look at this position. And don't be blinded by the engine's evaluation. -7. Ooh, that's scary. So what is white going to do? White is going to go here, and then white's going to come back. And then white going to repeat this action for as long as it takes before black realizes. There's no way you can prevent me from doing that, except giving up the queen, which would lead to easy draw in the pawn endgame. I would just be standing in the corner. There would be no Zugzwangs whatsoever. Actually, if there was no pawn on a4, black could come with the king. And if I go king c1, go king b3, and white would be lost. But there is a pawn on c4. If there was no pawn on a4, if there was no pawn on c4, by the same logic, black would also win. But these two pawns are in the way. You can add more pawns here, you can add more pawns here just for fun. It would increase the evaluation of the position, but it wouldn't change the fact that this is a fortress and it is a draw. That's it. That's all I can say. King c2, king c1, we're just waiting. The only active idea is to give up the queen. That's it. There's no way king can prevent me from going to c1. No way of king preventing me from going to c2, because he has no access to b3 square whatsoever. That's it. That is an easy draw for white. For a good GM, it may take even seconds to figure it out. And it would take eternity for Stockfish to realize it. Maybe eventually, when it calculates far enough this main line, and I'm quoting, maybe if it calculated far enough, rook a3, big mistake, it would realize it's more than -7, and then it would come back and understand that king c1, king e7 doesn't help. I'm going bishop b1 anyway, transposition. That it is a very simple fortress that black cannot break, still uncomprehendable by the engine. So again and again, I want to emphasize, look with your own eyes. You don't need to be as like very sophisticated player, strong GM or something. These kind of things most chess player can understand, and you can be better than the engine despite all the statistics. There are still fields where we are better. When it comes to attacking, sometimes the engine does not consider a good attacking move for some reason. When it comes to fortresses, it doesn't see them. When it comes to an expected move somewhere down the line, one of my previous videos, my game against Oleksiyenko, the engine doesn't see, because later in the game there is an unexpected move that my opponent, not even the GM by the way back in the day, found it over the board. The engine still cannot find it. So there are fields where we can really help engines find the truth. But if we are just following the engines, that's bad. First of all, you're not learning, right? You have to use your judgment. You have to ask questions. This is how you learn. In this case, you ask a question to an engine and you always get an answer. The answer could be, no, you're wrong because of this, or the answer alternatively could be the engine would say, you're right, good job. And then you become a stronger player. See you later. Subscribe. Take care. Bye.